doesn't seem like it works. Okay, it does. Hi everyone, great to see everyone. And let's talk about accelerating Ethereum. I mean, it will be mostly accelerating your ideas and thinking like founders about where the world is going. So the world is accelerating, Ethereum has to accelerate, and Ethereum accelerating means that you have to accelerate. You have to accelerate as founders. All right, so yesterday I had very nice conversations with the new generation, Gen Z people everywhere around here in Cannes. And I just recorded a stream of consciousness from them, and they say, look, who makes this shit fun, make Ethereum fun, Ethereum should be fun, marketing now is all about fun, and so on and so on. And you can hear probably also about how it's in Bitmine teaming up with Mr. Beast, and people saying, look, people like Mr. Beast are creating the banks of the future, that's where the finance will be, that's where the trust will be for the new generation. It means that you already have to start rethinking of how you build your products and how you structure the marketing for your products. Well, let's skip further. So I think that generally the world is changing, well, very, very fast, so accelerating. And when you look at blockchain, if you haven't moved from blockchain to or like crypto spaces, crypto communities for the last few years, that it feels like you might be building for the world that is disappearing very fast. And I'm trying to encourage everyone to start thinking about the world in a few years, because the change is so drastic, so dramatic, beyond AI, obviously. That it might be that your products are targeting the users that are disappearing, which means like humans versus agents as users. And typo. If you do not build for the next 10 years, that means that probably you're building for the past 10 years. And it's very, very important that you need to notice that many of the leaders that we follow and that we read very often talk about the past 10 years. And it's something that I was thinking about very often when building organizations, that if you over-rely on stories and the legends of how the company started, of how it was in the past, then over time it starts being exclusive for the new ideas. So it's very, very risky to talk too often about how Ethereum was imagined 10 years ago. And last year we were celebrating 10 years of Ethereum. This year we definitely continue celebrating the next 10 years of Ethereum. So the user interface as we know it is disappearing. So potentially browsers will disappear. If you see the new products like browser-based, browser-less, agents are searching information on the internet by rejecting the browsers, the traditional browsers. Users are using agents to search for information or execute actions. Maybe some of you were already using the OpenClaw or so. Then you use it for opening accounts, for finding information, for setting up things. I was using it for opening GitHub accounts, Vercel accounts, buying domains, for deploying websites and blogs, for setting up cloud accounts, and so on. Every now and then I would have to solve CAPTCHA. But the thing is, the moment when you start working with agents and AI chats, very likely you're not using browsers anymore. But still, very often you're building products that are very, very browser focused. Might be better if you're building it for some kind of like trade execution engines and trading dashboards. You can expect that most of your power users will use browsers for a while, but even them, they're moving to solutions like Myrofish, agents that are representing them in trading, and so on and so on. So browsers may disappear, and when the browsers disappear, it means that everything that was created for browsers is really in a very, very awkward format, which means it will not be the World Wide Web, but it will be lots of data in databases indexed for agents and pre-training for like thinking about how your data, how your marketing lands with the LLM models, with the base models, and how to make sure that you're always there up to date and they're choosing your product over the others. So AI and agents are consumers. Very often no longer humans will be consumers. And then they can either represent their like independent identity, think about it as it's holding inside a TE, the enclaves, or representing a human, because you may have humans saying, I'm spawning agents and they borrow my identity, or as an organization or as an individual, I can launch an agent and try to make it independent, self-replicating, paying for itself and existing in the clouds maybe, and always escaping anyone trying to shut it down. This might be the user of your services or buyer of your products. Interfaces change, pricing strategies, marketing form, experience of the users, or the users themselves change. So all of that has to be rethought. One thing that I believe doesn't change is the research is memes. We maybe missed it. The like, unified theory of memes is not only as the meme coins, but also much of the research in the blockchain space was a meme. So we were looking at how viral and what would be the half-life of the research ideas that researchers were proposing. And we were kind of gambling or betting on those research ideas. And it's a bit like this also with the startups. So the startups come with the ideas, and you bet both on the idea and the execution. But the markets that we're creating very, very much allowed us to separate the ideas from execution. And research very often followed with limited execution, but with the ideas that we kept talking about on stages. So I think that is suffering temporarily in the blockchain space, and that's why you don't have that many of the crazy tokens that carry everyone. But it might be coming back if you start thinking that in the end, those imagination and research markets are the only thing that will be spawning a lot of attention and compute flowing into some area. I think that it leads also to realization that we haven't learned to properly price those products, but the idea is that every single research idea, something that's asking for attention, will have a bit of a chart that it just explodes and then dies vertically, but you never know when it dies and how quickly it explodes, so how long it will survive, and you try to just price it and trade it. What changes with social media? I think that social media as we know it, it disappears. So you'll have the social media that will be generated on the fly for the users, and it will be both on the content side and the news side. What's the opportunity for blockchain, the products that you're building? So verifiable sensors from satellites, from cameras around the world, deploying them, registering them, deploying them permissionlessly, setting up the trust for them, because hardware cannot necessarily be trusted. So the hardware solutions for trust, it does exist in a very, very, very beginner form. And probably there will be lots of opportunities to improve those. Now, if I open my news feed, then probably I would like to generate it on the fly on the latest data that the sensors are observing in the world. And for the content, for the creative content, really I can create it either based on history. Probably this is our formative years, the early teenager years or so, when we soak in a lot of culture from last thousands of years. But this is history, this is your context, this is what teaches you how to explore and how to enjoy the new content generated and new imagination. But in the end, whenever you want something new, something fresh, and participate, whenever you want to act on something that is appearing and participate in creation, then you need to create some kind of imagination markets. What else possibly disappears? App stores, maybe, maybe not. The app stores may just convert into something that creates apps on the fly. The big problem that's already there is that AI generates thousands of apps, registers them, or millions of apps. So you start already seeing AI creating all the potential flavors of applications that you're using. So if you can create millions of different flavors of the information application, why not to generate it on the fly? Which means the app stores become too cluttered. It'll be hard to find any information, and maybe the effort of finding the right app among the millions will be comparable to generating one app on the fly. So then what matters is blockchain potentially delivering verifiable models and data that they can generate the applications that you can trust. Coming back to imagination markets and reality feeds, so what really matters in the end in the imagination aspect is a prompt. What the prompt can be, if I walk on stage and say something that inspires you, that might be a prompt. But ideally, I would compress it to something that you would only have to sit for 20 minutes and listen, but to something that is really, really compressed and that you can generate the presentation from whenever you want to learn. And that's something that would really rely on the context that you already have, on your current mood or your current ability to process new information, to learn or play with the content. So the prompt matters, means that I don't really have to publish the form the same way as I don't have to publish the ready application. So I only publish the prompt, and people consume the prompts in the form that is generated on the fly for them. And well, I can sell the rights to my work in different formats. I can sell all the context that I have, so all the history of my interactions, all my memories, and then you can create something that's like a frozen person in time that generates all the ideas that I could generate at a given time, or keep creating new prompts and give someone access to my new prompts, and that may spawn like new ideas with them. And on the new side, as I said, that's a new idea. Shall we evacuate? No? For sure? Okay. Why do we trust you? Yes, it's a test? All right. Okay. So then use verifiable sensors, right? And trust and information of when to act on the things. So this is all important, and probably you'll have agents, devices, and AI that will tell you, yes, this is a test. I wouldn't like to be responsible for you if it's not. The identity problem. So identity of agents will matter, and if they represent you in decisions on everything that happens, everything that you consume, and represent you when you want to interact with other systems, then how you really construct the identity. I think that people over-rely a bit with their existing products and ideas on agent having an identity. The agent as a unit having an identity. Maybe some kind of a stack, but it's more like a model, a version of a model that we see as an identity nowadays. Mostly, I think of it as Anthropic 4.6 Opus, or ChatGPT 5.4, and this is a bit like big aspect of identity. How can I verify it? Verifiable models will be important, but already now you have trust in the brands, trust in the name of the company, and trust in humans. So already that branding, the identity of the company, organization behind the model, whoever trained it is important, and then whoever hosts it is important. And sure, maybe if you go back about where the agent is running and what APIs is using and what human it represents, then it's the identity of the agent. So that identity is a combination of human identity and model identity itself. So the human accountability and the model behavior. What happens with privacy in the world that is coming? So I think that the big change is that there should be absolutely no opportunity. Well, there should be. Probably there will be no opportunity for hiding from AI, from surveillance and so on. So any data about you can be inferred from your actions. Everything that you execute, the way you exist, and so on, can be inferred. But we can hope for the human-to-human privacy, and potentially for the digital operations privacy of our agents. So we'll have to think about the privacy solutions for agents and for AI when they interact with other agents and other AIs. Coming back to trust, so it might be interesting concept of thinking that in all of that space that brings so much value to the digital content, the digital ownership, digital property, the trust really is seated in the physical world. And more so probably because you can generate digital content so easily. So you always will be asking question that if the user initiates the interactions, then do they borrow their trust from maybe like family, friends, recommendations, culture that they grew up in, and anytime that they want to risk exploration, they move or like they expand outside of their culture and take the risk to expand new culture and build the trust in new areas. Now, blockchains can actually decrease risk. Like whenever they provide the trust and the trustless systems, they decrease risk of exploration. So this is an opportunity for product and figure out how, very abstract, how to make it a real product. You want to allow people to borrow trust from their physical world and carry it and expand that to the trust to new explorations that are kind of like risk minimized on the by the blockchain solutions. What else can happen? So with the progress of technology, with the perfect surveillance of everything that happens, with the perfect reading of the minds, like brain-computer interfaces, with information about your preferences, with everything discovered in real time, you may have hyperlocal governance and hyperlocal legal systems. Blockchain very often talks about the governance. Governance now not only expands with the DAOs changing, but also now has finally, instead of very static DAOs, it has dynamic DAOs, DAOs that can interact with the agents that react to the edge cases, to unexpected. Now, those systems can be very, very local, and think about how many of us are sitting here and what rules we would agree on the rules of behavior. Is it okay to behave here differently than the social norms would normally say? If yes, then we can be immediately kind of notified that this is fine. Actually, you want to do that, and everyone here thinks that this is fine, even if it's not normally socially accepted or not legal in a bit more broader context or more broader region. You can think of it as like a example of a quiet carriage on a train, when they say, here nobody can talk, and the two people walk into this carriage and think, oh, this is quiet carriage, so we cannot talk, but they know that there are only two people, and they discover that actually the rule is totally fine for them to start talking because nobody cares as long as nobody is in there. What else? We were exploring, and on my last days before I was stepping down from the Ethereum Foundation, we made a trip to Santa Fe Institute with a group of researchers from Ethereum Foundation, and we discussed a lot about something that is, well, the knowledge from the 80s, but evolves nicely to talk about the hierarchy of blockchains and how the systems will be adapting if you have very, very local blockchains. So if you build blockchains that are, whatever, layer 3, so layer 4s, that are city level chains, like collocated, maybe like Hyperledger style or lighter style blockchains or mega ETH style blockchains. So how quickly they evolve compared in comparison to Ethereum mainnet. How quickly those genes are adapting locally versus how quickly the mainnet changes, what ossifies, how the systems evolve in these complex systems, how much you have to encode as the blockchain behavior and which genes activate and not. So I encourage you to think about this revival of complexity theory in the context of things accelerating, lots of agents adapting very quickly. And what I would say is that the agents will be controlling Ethereum, so in a sense that Ethereum will be autonomous and will be agentic by itself. Organizations change. So I think what we'll see will be the massive change in the dynamics of the organizations, how many people will be running organizations, how we'll be creating agentic hybrid agentic human structures. You will start seeing single-person organizations, so like billion-dollar companies run by one founder without any other people. Companies with mass factor of one and how they survive it. Maybe you will see something like agentic buyouts. Like, what if I, as a single-person company, launch a company with agents only, and the agents think, like, why do we need this guy to run us? So maybe we'll just clone ourselves and run without it. So what's really the control, the capital control of the agents, how it ensures that I still remain in control? And maybe there should be a blockchain systems that support it, that support that capital agent stickiness and interaction. So maybe it's all about who controls energy and data centers and not capital directly. And maybe the role of the founders will be just to drive that imagination. So I'm at the moment starting something new. I'm building that under Nethermind as a subsidiary, but I want to build a single-person company, and I want it to be created also as I talk about it. So I think that I should provide only imagination and vision, and this is very often what you say that the role of the CEO is, and the role of a CEO should be also hiring, but you hire only agents, so you just spawn them, and financing. So if you have financing and if you spawn agents, the only thing that matters is the vision, and the vision is created very often at the moment when you start talking about it, when someone starts asking questions. So if you can immediately convert it to the organizations that builds whatever you talk about, then you create the organization on the fly with agents as you talk. And then it means that it's only imagination, the ability of envision the company of the future in some context in the future. So will Ethereum be autonomous? If you look at the project, if 2030, it shows you a pretty challenging project of building the Ethereum client based on GEF that delivers all the requirements, all the spec for the next 5 years, I think. So if 2030, 58 EAPs implemented, all the tests passing, and that delivered over like few weeks. Obviously, we're still asking questions about quality, but it shows how far ahead we are already compared to what people predicted 6 or 9 months ago, or not predicted, but believed. Like most of the core developers would think this will not be possible, and at the moment, core developers do not believe that it will be possible to absolutely not have core developers. I think that what changes is like 5 simple steps. Every single one is very, very easily to imaginable. So EIP creation, can it be AI-driven? Yes, and you can have AI-driving creation of thousands or millions of EIPs. When you have that many EIPs proposed, then AI probably reviews those these EIPs. The moment when AI reviews all the EIPs, then AI also proposes the best EIPs at the all-core dev calls. And then since AI reviewed all of them, so why AI wouldn't decide to which EIPs should go in the next package? It's already done it. It already was capable of reviewing millions of EIPs. And then if you can also develop clients with AI, then the last thing remaining is the validator operator. So on the guardians of the capital deciding, do we accept this change or not? I think this will happen, and it will happen very fast. So we'll not have really core developers, and it will all change a bit more into politics. It means that the only way we'll be describing the protocol, the future of the protocol, will be if it will be important for the humans to have imagination about the future and talk about the world. So the all core devs should become simply politics and no technology whatsoever, because there'll be no meritocracy, because you cannot build it based on your coding skills, because nobody will be coding. So the only thing will be talking about what you want to build, politics. So the real world also may become a game. So you'll be deploying agents together with robots, changes in the real world, and you'll start playing with it like the way people played with Minecraft, Factorio, SimCity, and so on. So a lot of fun, and possibly coordinated with blockchains, some of the things that I also plan to build. So what would be walkaway test now? I inspire everyone to almost leave Ethereum and build, so you can for a moment feel how many things are changing, what people need, and what are the opportunities. Leave the past of Ethereum and build, and leave and come back, because I think the biggest value will be if you take all that knowledge about Ethereum, explore something that is very user-oriented, product-oriented, problem-solving, and future-oriented, and think, oh, I know how to enhance it with Ethereum values and with the Ethereum network value. So leave, but come back. You don't need foundations, because you're building the future. Thank you. And my last slide disappeared, sorry. Any questions? No questions, we ran over time. Thank you.